Top 5 technologies that will make a big impact in business in 5 years. Now, it's not a new concept that humans have always been eager to dream about how the lifestyle of technology will be different in the future. People all the way from 90s foreshadowing the future to be full of flying cars to today forces of these unbelievably Hollywood things. Outside of the arguments whether these insane concepts are gonna play out in the future, deciding humanity's fate or not, given how fast our lives are being changed by the advancing of technology, we're going to have a closest to realistic assumptions of what tech are going to impact the way we live in the next 5 years. So number 1 is cloud computing. Now, what if I told you that this computer right here with a 64-core CPU, 128 gigs of RAM, and many stacks of super powerful hardware acceleration, you can have all of that in your tablet or your smartphone. Now, if that's true and convinced you enough, would you ever consider buying a $25,000 computer or have the capability of finishing up taxes on, for example, your smartphone that you can access from anywhere? Now, you can have all this cost based on what you use it for and most importantly, how long you use it for. But the only one problem is that we still have shitty latency and delay problems with our internet connections. Now, what do I really mean? Most of our internet's infrastructure is still not enough to replicate the input-output synchronization as opposed to what you get on your local computer. Now, for example, if you are a gamer and you play on your cloud computer, and if you're like most people who don't have very good internet connection, you would have a very hard time playing because you will most likely die before you see yourself die. But good news, tech like 5G is just around the corner and is expected to have latencies close to 1 millisecond and going to be implemented to macro within 5 years. So it's not going to be too long until the costs and benefits of having a fully fledged computer completely on the cloud will be way better than just buying a computer for yourself. Now number 2 is data science. With just the power of numbers and relations between them, Albert Einstein could already mathematically predict the existence of black holes. And recently we just captured a real one, proving it to be completely real. But the resources and technology Albert Einstein had was of 100 years before. 100 years later, what do we have now? Well, what we don't have now. We now have the power of computation, most importantly, along with the power of math. So what do I do? What do we do with these things? Well, ungodly things. When we have all the advanced mathematical concepts and all the advanced algorithms on top and extremely powerful resources like 128 processors, terabytes of RAMs, and super high density GPUs, they were just affording of the data centers just about 2 to 4 years ago. But today, you can go buy a consumer 32 core processor on the retail store. Really expensive today, but just like how we are advancing, in the next 5 years, almost anybody would be able to afford this. Now, with the power of data science and data manipulation, people today are doing things from just filtering out spam emails to predicting when your baby will be born. The art of messing with data, or more commonly known as data science, can literally give us the ability to see the future. And what could be more useful than predicting how your product will rank and how your customers will like it? It's just like having a superpower. Now number 3 is nothing but artificial intelligence. Now imagine if you run a business of any kind other that you involve with sales. Now, what would be the most important thing you want to know as a salesperson? Your statistics. Now, you have enough resources for storing all your daily data entries, but the one who has to manage this all is still you. Of course, without the help of artificial intelligence or AI. So enter AI. And by the way, I'm not talking about this big boys destroying all shit. I'm talking about things like machine learning, deep learning, and some other automation algorithms. Now take this, most businesses are run by small group of people. And if it counts everything in the modern era, most businesses are run by individuals. Now if you are one of them, chances are half of your time is sold on just managing simple to complicated stuff. Now what if the time spent on solely management turns down to zero and all this time could be involved only to develop an insanely good product? Well, at this time though, machine learning, deep learning, and all these other algorithms need some sort of human input, and obviously when something goes wrong with the logical architecture, we definitely need some help. But getting how fast things are changing, it's a given that AI is going to a point where it can operate by barely any human input to nothing at all, and that will impact many industries big time. Number 4 is virtual reality and augmented reality. Now, to be honest, virtual reality today sucks, and there are not many practical augmented reality or AR applications today, and even if there are, it is nowhere as big scale as the above list. Virtual reality, on the other hand, still hasn't the portal between two realities, and neither is very affordable. And AR devices like the Google Glass has failed hard time. But think about it once. The product of all the AI, data science, and cloud computing was the best way to interface them into our understandings. Well, no matter how much we have advanced, our minds are still more stimulated to how we interact with the real world in 3D. All the above things connected in a network and through the interface of AR and VR can not only enable us to discover completely different things in the field of computer science, but can bring down an hour-long business model documentation down to just a sneak peek. Now, the last but not least, to connect all of these technologies and make them work together. Yes, I'm talking about the internet. And I know what you're thinking. Oh shit, here we go again. The 100th time I'm listening about the internet. Oh, you are right, and admit this topic is probably pretty saturated. If those on the above list weren't though. Anyway, it still doesn't mean that I won't include it. Remember, this video is just all about what's going to impact the world largely in the next years, and of course the internet makes into the list. Already the introduction of all these social media platforms and e-commerce has spread cancer to the traditional way of doing business like nothing before. It has killed many business industries already, and I'm not going to name them just because there are so many. And in the long scale, the internet has seriously impacted things like the gross volume of people traveling, to the number of people on the street, to even huge health problems. And what I believe is almost every problem of mankind today can be solved with the help of the internet. But remember, internet is not an object. It is a tool, and it still depends on how well objects based on the internet is executed. If it's right, in the next coming 5 years, the internet will 1. Kill almost all traditional business industries, hugely decrease travel, put 100x more people into entrepreneurship, and kill a lot of jobs. So it is one side very exciting and on the other side super scary, but we should be really thankful that at this time we get to learn a lot, and we should be able to apply this in the coming future, because if we don't survive. Alright, so thanks for being on Alphensign TV, and I'm just really happy to actually provide some value content and value information that you probably might like. I always have some things going on in my mind that I want to make a video on, and to be honest, to make really good quality content it takes time and effort, and most importantly motivation. So if you could just help out by subscribing to this channel, liking and sharing, it would just mean it just completely motivate me to make more content and make my mind into the form of videos that I'm trying to put out here, and I'll just appreciate it more than anything in the world. Thanks for watching. I love you.